Hey y'all, I'm Sage and I am going to talk to you while my speed paint plays in the background. Yay! Just be warned, this is going to be very chaotic because I don't know how to do these correctly because this is my channel and it's chaos, but in a fun way. And here I am going over my sketch. And you may be asking, your sketch kind of looks like that doesn't really have line art in it. It's because, get this, I didn't want to do that. And you may be like, damn, why not? I just didn't want to. That's the end of that story. And so I decided that I just kind of want to do kind of like a painty kind of sketchy type of thing, and then go over top of that. I did the sketching on a different canvas because, and you will see in this video, you'll be like, damn girl, she's running out of layers. And I did run out of layers, and then I had to put them together, and then it's just, I try my best. I would also like to preface saying this, that the beginning of this video is a little bit more sped up for the speed paint. You may be like, oh my god, why? Is it because I decided that I hated it? Yes. And then I was like, okay, let's just take some time away from it, and then I changed pretty much like everything except for like the colors. You know what I'm saying? Like the colors stayed the same. Ooh, I'm gonna show y'all something. This picture of Billie Eilish was the inspo for this this kind of like siren mermaid lady person that I'm making. I just really loved the aesthetic of it. It popped up on my For You page on TikTok, and I was like, damn, this is such like an aesthetically nice picture. I want to do something like this. And so what I did, because in Procreate, that is the program that I'm using, is you can actually take the picture and you can make a color palette out of that. And that's where I also got my colors, except for like the reddish hues that you'll see like a little bit like later on. But for the majority of the entirety of this speed paint, it is mostly just those colors from this picture. And this is where I think I'm gonna make the dagger glow, and then I don't. It stays there for a little bit and then it just disappears, you know? I am undecisive, and that is how it's forever gonna be. I'm a Libra. And then here I'm working on skin tones, highlights, lowlights, all that fun stuff. And you may be like, Sage, girl, the light on her face doesn't reflect what's happening in the environment around her, because the moon's like behind her and all that fun stuff. But there's one thing that I've learned in art that I actually recently just learned, was that don't be like trapped in a cage by the lighting if the artwork doesn't call for it. You know what I mean? Like it just all depends on like what you're going for. Like let's say like if the light source was coming from like down here instead of like up here, but you wanted like it to be like your character to be a little bit more pretty, so you kind of like put the light, it should be a little bit more up here rather than down here, because if the light's down here it's gonna look like, you know, horror. But yeah, so it depends. And then I decided I wanted to throw that rule out the window, because that isn't a rule. You can do what you want in art, who cares? As long as you're having fun, that's what matters. That's what I tell myself. Yes. And here I'm adding all like the water bits, you know what I'm saying, the water droplets. And then I decided, get this, I hated all of this, so don't get attached to them. And you may be like, girl, her hair doesn't look like it's very wet, because I wanted her hair to look wet, and it doesn't look wet right now. It will later. But the reason why was because I was looking at this photo, and it's of Megan Fox, because she's really pretty, and she had what it looks like is wet hair, a wet hair look. But it's not wet hair, it's tricking you, because Hollywood is sorcery. Got those glamours unlocked, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, and as you can tell, my hair is wet right now. Not that you'd be able to know, I guess, but it is wet. And I don't know really how straight hair works, if I'm being completely honest. And you may be like, what do you mean it's just straight hair? I'm used to seeing this. You know what I'm saying? So we go back to our roots later on, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand that hair. Hell yeah. And you may be like, oh my god, what is she gonna do next? I am going to shade some hair and decide that I hate it. which is completely okay. As an artist, you're your own worst critic. You're allowed to not like what you put out there and then reevaluate and get back to it. And that's what we did, because we're just so great on this channel. We are, I want to think of a pun. We'll think of a pun. We are fantastic. Did I Google that? Don't at me. Yes, I Googled puns. I actually wrote down a couple of them. Water puns. Ooh. Am I going to use them throughout the video? That was the plan. But also, I yap a lot. If you haven't noticed, I can yap all day, all night. Doesn't matter. And now we're going to dive right in. Into some skin tone coloring. And as you can tell, I don't do a very good job at it at this point. And I think it's because I wanted her to look like a little bit less gray-ish, you know what I'm saying? But that's also part of the fun. I love rendering in gray skin. Don't know why. That's just part of who I am, I guess. And I wanted to do, so you'll see like a couple colors like pop up. So what I did, because it's speed paint so you can't see like everything, but when I pull up the color wheel, I went from one side to the other, like diagonally across, like straight across, and it's so you can find the complementary color. And I decided I don't like that, because there's some complementary colors I don't like together, like red and green. Get out. We are not Christmas in this house. We are Halloween all year round. No matter what, it's Halloween. Halloween every single day, you know what I'm saying? You may be like, oh my god, really? Is it really every day? Yeah, I have a pumpkin. It is Halloween. It is the beginning of May, exactly. And this is where we go to the salon, and by we, I mean we change our hair, and by we, I mean she does, and by she does, I mean I did it. Yeah, that was very convoluted, but we got there. She goes through 2 changes, you know, she's like, damn, do I like this one? She's like, wait, no, I don't. And I'm like, girl, I got you. And then I pulled out another curly. We have very much similar hair in this picture, except she has black hair, because black hair is awesome. And it's the final hairstyle. And this hairstyle is gonna stay with us for the rest of the painting. It's fun, it's fantastic. I love the bangs that I gave her. It's just, damn, like, I did such a good job. Anyway, what I actually used for this hairstyle was because I wanted to look like sopping wet, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to look like she's emerging from the ocean, right? Because that's fun and it's funky fresh. So I wanted the hair like to look like it's like holding like a lot of just wet ocean water, you know what I'm saying? So I actually used the hemp brush for like the strokes of the hair, because I just found it gave it a little bit more texture rather than just using like a soft brush that's kind of just like it's there, like it's good. It's not great though. And it also kind of like helps because I do go over it with some glistening, obviously, because it gotta glisten if it's gonna be, you know, like sopping wet. And I also used the hemp brush for that as well, and I also used the hemp brush for the skin glistening as well. So like anything glistening, anything with like white on it, that is the hemp brush. I wanted to mention that because I don't usually normally use that brush. I've been branching out lately, and honestly it's fun. And you've probably been noticing there's like some BRBs that sometimes come on screen. It's because I'm screen recording and I don't feel like turning it off when I decide, and you'll see me right on the screen. I can't pick a song sometimes. You need good vibes. In order for your artwork to flow, I need constant music all the time. Love music, 10 out of 10. And I will link what I was listening to at this point down below. It wasn't, it's not a playlist, it's actually like an ASMR, like Siren, like water, you know, like I'ma get ya type of like vibe, which is really fun and funky fresh when you're trying to be like, ooh, you know, like she's ready to attack, you know. This is where I decide to use the grid. And the reason why is because when you constantly flip the canvas, see what is wrong with your art piece in the sense of like, does it look like anatomically correct? And this is where I decided to go on a side quest to go look up a dagger to see a reference for one. And then I found one, and then I decided, hey, that's great. I'm barely gonna touch the dagger that's in her hand right now, and then just move on until like a lot later. And then I get distracted by the hands, the shoulders, the face, and then I'm like, you know what is distracting me right now? Also, the dagger. You got that right. And you'll be like, oh my god, is she actually gonna work on it? No, it's just sometimes I like to jump around. As a digital artist, that is one of the things that I absolutely love. Sometimes you just gotta jump and then just go with the flow. Ha! Get it? So completely unrelated, but also kind of related, is that because I like to picture this essence of an art piece to be a siren. And so I'm gonna read you some siren facts that I found off of Google, because that's where you find facts. Some facts that I learned was, okay, so first off, we all know like sirens, they sing and they're beautiful, and then they lure sailors to their death, and then they kill them and cannibalize them, right? But that wasn't always what sirens were all about. According to Google, they did always kill sailors. That part has remained the same. However, they actually resembled more like what we would know today as harpies. And if you don't know what a harpy is, basically it's part bird and part woman. And except back in the day, these sirens specifically, they had a woman face, and then the rest of them were just bird. It was just a big bird with a beautiful woman's face just slapped up top of it. And then after that era happened, they then gave the sirens arms so then they can hold stuff, and they were depicted as holding instruments, probably instruments of death, you know. And by instruments of death, I mean they would, like, you know, they sing and then you die. And they are also depicted in having pomegranates in their hands, and it's because they are, in Greek mythology, also associated with Persephone and Hades. You may be like, how do they become half fish? Listen, dude, apparently just collectively over time, people were like, you know what? Them being half fish makes sense, because when you Google it, there's a lot of conflicting answers of when specifically they became half fish instead of half bird. But one really cool thing that a lot of people do seem to agree on is that that change was very, very gradual. So there was nothing like that happened in like their pop culture time that was like, you know, defining moment of them all now being half fish, which I thought was pretty cool because, you know, monsters. And then this part was so much fun to do. So to do like the wet clothing, I used some references. These are the references that I use. So one thing that I noticed about wet clothing is whatever is clinging to the body, that's gonna be pretty much see-through. So it's gonna be very, like, your skin tone's gonna just pop out underneath it. And another thing that I noticed was the fabrics are very sharp. So all of the edges, well, I should say the edges are very, very sharp. So you need to keep that in mind too. Like, it's not like a nice long dress, I should say, like where it's just nice and flowy and wispy. Oh, and another thing that I've also noticed, like with all of like the fabric folds, is they seem to be a lot wider in the middle compared to like Let's Leather Jacket, like where it's pretty much like thick the entire way through because it's such a thick fabric. But for this specifically, those were like the three things that I kept in mind. And then this next upcoming part pretty much didn't even need to be part of the speed paint because I ended up just not even adding it in at the very end. I wanted to give her like more background because I was like, you know what, it kind of looks a little bit plain. Let's add like some mountains, like maybe like I was giving her a backstory in my head where I was like, maybe like she's swimming like away from like an entire city because she's on like a revenge mission, you know, and she's just ready to go after like the sailor that's wronged her. And then I was like, damn, this seems like pretty like cool and sick in my head. And then I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think I like it. I think it's because I made the mountains green and I was like, damn, that's really not the vibe that I'm going for. And then I went with gray ones and then I was just like, you know what? I just don't like it at all. What I did like was adding all like the little like lights like for like this like city slash like town. I really like doing that, and I like that, and I liked having that in the background, but it just, I ended up not even putting it in, so just to let you know. And we are back to the dagger. So for the dagger, you don't see it too much in the speed paint itself because again it is sped up, but I do end up trying to change the color a couple times, and I decided just to stay with kind of like the Minecraft diamond-y look, you know what I'm saying? I didn't intend for that to be like the final color scheme, and I didn't intend it to look like kind of like the diamond Minecraft like sword. That wasn't the intention at all behind that. It was just kind of like a happy accident. I just really like that color. Just in general, I just think it's a really nice color. So I was like, damn, you know what? Let's just make the dagger this color, and I ended up doing like a little bit more like kind of like on like the butt of the dagger. I forget what it's called. And then we jump back into doing like the dress on like the chest part area. That was inspired by actually the Megan Fox dress that I showed y'all earlier. I just really liked how like girly and feminine it looked because it has like a bunch of just like ruffles on like the top part, and like there was like a couple like bands around it too. I just really liked how it looked. I don't know if it specifically had buttons on the dress or not. I couldn't see like on like the photo because the photo is kind of like a little bit blurry, but I just thought it looked really cute, so I decided to incorporate that into my own drawing. And then I decided to add like some kind of like some lacy ruffles because that's just fun and funky fresh, and I just think that that also kind of like ties in with the whole like Siren vibe, you know, which is fun. And I also do like some more kind of like drenched clothing type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I just found that so much fun, like to do like specifically the wet clothing because I've never done it before. I keep trying to like push myself like more artistically because why not? We only live once, and you know, you can either try it and fail and be sad, or you can try it and keep just trying it over and over, and then eventually you'll get it, which is just fun. I really enjoy like pushing myself artistically. It's fun, and then you get to learn like, damn, I did that, that's crazy. And then here ties in with the beginning of the video, like when I said, hey, like her face, it was highlighted as if like the light's in front of her instead of like the light being behind her because the moon's there. This was actually a really happy accident because I ended up putting all of the shading on her face on the wrong layer because I was thinking to myself in the back of my head like, oh no, what if I mess this up and I like it before but I don't have enough like undos, you know what I'm saying? But it actually ended up being good because I did it on the wrong layer, which ended up being a blessing because I know you can see like my layers on the side. I believe I could only have 13 or 12 layers, and like I'm struggling for my life right now. But it ended up all working out perfectly because I did do it on the wrong layer, and I wouldn't have thought it to do it on that layer either because I would have been too intimidated to put anything else on that layer in case I erased the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? This next part, every artist ever struggles with this. It is hands. I love drawing hands. They have so much character. I just absolutely love them. But I was having some issues placing the thumb. I was like, where does this thumb go? And you'll see the reference photo get put up. But yeah, I just thought that was like so funny because I was like, literally everything else was fine, but I still needed that reference photo for that goddamn thumb. But we are getting close to the end of the video, so I'd like to thank y'all for sticking around and watching. If you did, y'all are sensational. Yay. But I will be back again next week, hopefully on my regular day, which is Tuesday, but we will see what the future holds. Anyway, I'll see y'all later.